Hello friends and viewers, and welcome to my Luvata character guide. If you are here for just a quick reference, I've created a pocket guide for the beginning of the video. Luvata's trait is Firebird in Nirvana. She receives a passive increase to her magical attack, and she will inflict 1 stack of ignition on the target when dealing critical damage. This can be triggered up to 1 to 4 times per round, depending on star level. Luvata will also gain crit and crit damage buffs after casting fire skills. Additionally, she grants all allies in battle immunity to burning tiles. This helps her team safely traverse the burning tiles Luvata will leave behind, but be mindful this buff can be dispelled. Ignition is a life loss debuff that deals damage equal to 25% of the sum of Luvata's physical and magical attack. This means Luvata has some power scaling with physical attack, so it is not a completely wasted stat on her. Luvata's initial skill is Searing Gaze. This is a 1 energy cost, 0 turn cooldown skill. Searing Gaze deals 80% fire AoE damage to all enemies within 1 tile of the target tile. Notably, targeting a tile means this skill is not locked to targeting an enemy. Searing Gaze inflicts 1 stack of ignition to all enemies hit and forces impacted tiles to become burning. Luvata will also gain Attack 1 and Meditation buffs. As the Meditation buff lasts for 2 turns, casting this skill is energy positive. At rank 1, your options are Blazing or Ribbit. Blazing is a passive skill that inflicts Scorch on 1 random injured enemy within 3 tiles of Luvata. This is the same skill learnable by Flame Sorceress and KA Fire Conjurer. Optimizing this skill requires regularly playing Luvata within 3 tiles of enemies, but that may restrain her full potential as she does have skills with max range of 4 tiles. Ribbit transforms a target into a Cursed Frog for 2 turns. Under Cursed Frog, the enemy's movement is fixed at 1 tile and is immune to buffs, debuffs, knockbacks, and teleportation effects, and does not take any damage. This is a crowd control skill similar to polymorph effects from other RPGs, and while you cannot attack the Cursed Frog, it functionally disables an enemy from actions for 2 turns. Long term, both skills are unlikely to be part of a regular skill loadout. If you cannot decide, consider selecting based on the HP or defense stat gain. My pick here is Ribbit. At rank 3, I recommend Leaping Flames. Leaping Flames is a passive skill where Luvata's crit will increase by 20% when attacking enemies with Scorch, and her crit damage will increase by 20% when attacking enemies with Ignition. To maximize this skill, enemies should be inflicted with both debuffs. Upon defeating an enemy with Scorch, Luvata will deal additional fire AoE damage to all enemies within 2 tiles of the target and inflict Ignition. Fiery Determination is a passive skill that increases Luvata's attack by 20% when she is on a burning tile. At the end of her turn, the tile beneath her becomes burning. This skill is somewhat problematic because to take advantage of the attack increase, Luvata must stand still or backtrack her movement, or be dependent on another character, ally or enemy inflicting burning tiles ahead of her. Long term, it's reasonable to consider Castalia for Fiery Determination if you can make effective use of burning terrain. At rank 5, your options are Wall of Ember or Firewalking. Both reaction skills are contingent on Luvata standing still on a burning tile. Wall of Ember provides protection against single target attacks and triggers Luvata to perform preempt, absorbing the burning tile and gain a shield of the damage type corresponding to 100% of her magical attack. However, note this skill has a cooldown of 3 turns. Firewalking decreases damage taken by 10% and recovers 20% of her HP at the end of her turn. This is the same skill learnable by Beryl, Flame Sorceress, and Darklight Fire Priest. Assuming Luvata is on a burning tile, this skill actively reduces damage taken, heals her HP, and will protect against more than just single target attacks. My pick here is Firewalking. At rank 7, I recommend Energy Restoration with a Castalia for Phoenix Transformation. Energy Restoration increases Luvata's energy recovery. This will be essential to have as both of her rank 11 options have high energy costs. Phoenix Transformation allows Luvata to teleport to any burning tile on the map. This has potential to make her an extremely mobile character, but it is dependent on other targets, terrain, and objects to trigger burning tiles. After teleporting, Luvata will inflict minor AoE fire damage within a 1 tile radius of her. At rank 9, I recommend Fiery Wings. Recall that Energy Wave is the general magical basic attack that deals 80% damage with a range of 2 tiles. Scorching Attack has the same damage and range as Energy Wave, but inflicts Scorch. Fiery Wings deals 10% more damage, has a greater range of 3 tiles, and will change tiles to Burning. Access to more Burning tiles complements Luvata's entire skill kit, and changing a tile to Burning will subsequently inflict the enemy with Scorch. As far as raw damage, Scorching Attack is likely to output more damage upfront on enemies already inflicted with Scorch, so it may have a slight edge against bosses, but basic attacks overall make up a minority of Luvata's damage. At rank 11, I recommend Fiery Wings, Nirvana and Flames with a Castalia from Meteor Flame. Both skills target a tile and have power increases if burning tiles exist within the target tile radius. Fiery Wings, Nirvana and Flames attack 6 times, dealing 20% AoE damage to all enemies within 1 tile of the target range, and the first 3 attacks will inflict Scorch. If a burning tile is nearby, this skill will absorb the burning tile and additionally inflict 1 stack of ignition. Meteor Flame deals 70% fire AoE damage when no burning tiles are within radius, then forcibly turns the impacted tiles to burning. If a burning tile is within radius, the damage is increased to 140% and absorbs the burning tile. It's worth a Castalia for both skills. At a high level, you can consider Meteor Flame for AoE damage and Nirvana and Flames for single target damage and stacking Scorch and Ignition. This is my general build recommendation. This build uses either of Luvata's rank 11 skills as her primary energy spender, preferring Fiery Wings, Nirvana and Flames on a single target, or Meteor Flame for AoE damage. Her reaction skill should be whatever you learned at rank 3. For weapon recommendations, Nirvana is Luvata's Astral Imprint. This complements her skill kit well, increasing her AoE damage, inflicting more ignition debuffs, and applying more burning tiles on the battlefield. If Nirvana is inaccessible to you, Diffusing Prism and Resentment Broom are fine options to increase Luvata's damage. Use whichever has greater star level and engravings. And as always, Starry Sky Heritage remains a reasonable and competitive option as well. For trinket recommendations, because Roaring Flint is an instant skill that deals fire damage, this will trigger Luvata's crit and crit damage buffs that she can use for her follow-up attack. Bloodluxite Amulet is a good option to increase her overall magical damage, though she is unlikely to use the dying bonuses. Origin Hourglass and Shield of Justice are also good options for the passive attack increases. The Wall of Ember reaction skill can contribute to supporting Shield of Justice uptime as well. For terror recommendations, because Luvata's trait is conditional on her dealing crit damage, Verdict of Justice is a fine option to increase her crit chance and crit damage. Dream of the Magician is another good option to increase Luvata's overall AoE damage. As you will frequently deploy Luvata on maps with high target counts, it's reasonable to consider Temptation of the Devil as well. For engravings, Sword and Wand remains a fine combination and a comfort pick for the attack and defense increases. Additionally, as a ranged unit with several long-range skills, Sword and Pentacle is a reasonable option when Luvata is able to avoid damage and remain unharmed. To provide some composition and usage tips, recall that damage overtime effects, like Ignition, are considered piercing damage. Consider pairing Luvata with Kavar and Agata, who can increase piercing damage dealt against enemies. While Luvata is extremely capable of creating burning tiles, she can be more lethal playing with allies who can create burning tiles as well. Consider teaming Luvata with Beryl, Miguel, and Edda. Remember that Luvata's party-wide burning tile immunity is a dispellable buff. When you find yourself at risk of dispels, be extremely mindful of your party movement around burning tiles or substitute Luvata out on such maps. Lastly, Luvata is part of the Papal States and Aggression categories. Consider building a team with her using Karis's or Nona Will's leaders' auras. For external category buffs, Karis's Radiant Guidance offers a strong aura to increase damage dealt and reduce damage taken. Luvata can maintain up to 3 buffs by herself. Nona Will's aura provides 10% skill damage to all aggression allies. That concludes this character guide. If you have any feedback to share with me, please leave a comment below. I'm open to listening and being wrong. I'm another player improving and learning more about Sword of Convallaria just like you are. Remember, if you find conflicting information to other guides or content creators, then that means there are multiple ways to build a character and still achieve success. Finally, my social media contacts are displayed here to connect with me as well. Last but not least, I want to credit and shout out these resources for helping me put together this character guide. Voyage Memento for character build samples and reference links, the No Potion fan site for skill images and skill descriptions, and the Billy Game site for character art assets. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.